Hello, Internet. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
The Utah Jazz have made their draft picks. Let's go ahead and talk about them.
All that and more. My name is Darren. That is AJ. And this is the DNA Sports Recap.
Roll the intro.
All right. How's it going, AJ?
I'm doing great, buddy. Doing great. Lots of great sports news to talk about this week.
Yes, man. Yes.
Finally. I feel like we've been in a little bit of a holding pattern because there wasn't as much to talk about. Like our teams were down.
Yeah, dude. If our baseball was like the only thing carrying this for a while there.
And it did a great job.
Yeah.
Right. Because there was a ton of good baseball content we got out.
Yeah. But now we got to talk some local stuff. We need to talk some Utah hockey. We need to talk
Utah hockey's huge. Luckily, the Jazz draft's done. I'm excited to talk about that. And, these players they just picked up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Good stuff.
Looking forward to it for sure. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Now, before we get into content, folks, we are so close to 1,000 subscribers. Once we hit that mark, we're giving away the first $500 that we earn in AdSense revenue back to our subscribers. So please, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that giveaway. And also smash that like button for your boy, AJ.
I appreciate it.
And we did just release a brand new channel, Utah Jazz DNA. It's a channel specifically towards Utah Jazz content. We cover a lot of stuff on our main channel here. So if you're watching us mainly for our Jazz content, we have a specific channel geared specifically to that. So be sure to check it out. It'll be in the comments. It'll be in the description below. And if you are watching this on that channel, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're going to be doing a giveaway on that channel as well.
Absolutely. It's going to be a good one too. We'll find one.
Absolutely. It's going to be a good one. I don't know. Maybe one of these rookie jerseys. I don't know.
Rookie jerseys would be cool. I mean, even if we can get one of the new versions of the new Mountain jerseys, like my new favorite black and gray one.
Dude, that's
what
so
I'm talking
good.
about.
So sick. We talked about that last week. Be sure to check it out. We're going to link to that video in the description down below. So if you want to check that one after this one, or we'll pin it at the end of the video. So be sure to check that out. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about our Utah Jazz basketball, shall we?
Oh, yes, sir.
Let's talk about it. Okay, so first of all, let's go ahead and talk about the draft. Let's talk about that. That's really the only thing we really need to talk about.
That's it.
Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So we're 2 for 2, man. We are 2 for 2. So last year I called Taylor Hendricks as the first pick for the Utah Jazz. And this year you picked the number 1 pick, Cody Williams, a 6'7" wing, the number 10 overall pick from Colorado. What is your first reaction to the Jazz getting this pick?
Dude, I mean, I say it in the video before. This kid has a huge potential upside, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can shoot it. He handles the ball. I mean, pretty good for his size. Obviously, he is young, dude. I think he's 19. So, He only played 1 season at Colorado. So he does need to add some strength. He needs to be, more assertive with the basketball. But the Jazz, I mean, it's reported the Jazz were very impressed with his maturity through this whole drafting process. And in his interview, he did really well. Dude, there's times in this draft where this kid was a potential top 5 pick.
Yeah, so that's something I want to talk about first. I definitely want to get talk about it a little bit more detail. But there was a lot of rumors about the Jazz trying to trade up to number 5 by trading the later 2 picks to get to the number 5 pick. And I think it's because they thought that Cody Williams could be off the board.
Absolutely.
Because everybody did have him going much higher, anywhere from 5 to 7. That's usually where they had him ranked at.
Yep.
So I think that's exactly what happened. I think the trades that they were trying to facilitate to get this kid fell through. And then they realized, well, he might slip to where we want him. And that's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened, dude. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better drop in the way that those first 9 picks played out, because I do think this is the guy the Jazz wanted. I think they were willing to make some trades to get down there to get him. I am super excited about him. I mean, he is that player that I think the Jazz needed. He is like a true wing kind of defender.
Mm-hmm.
He shoots it pretty good. He is a pretty good defensive player, which obviously the Jazz were hurting for last year, being the last rated defense in the league. I don't know, man. What's your thought? How are you feeling about this?
Man, I did a lot of research last night on this to talk about this on the episode today. I did a lot of research, and honestly, I was kind of a Debbie Downer about the whole thing. I'm just like, this guy really, I know he was your pick and everything, and it was a good pick, but honestly, my pick was literally 7 picks later. Yeah, Dalton Neck was like literally just 7. He fell.
They passed on him.
I'm like, why is everybody passing on this kid? This is exactly what they need in a big-bodied guard that can shoot and facilitate. for the fact that the Jazz didn't take him blew my mind. And honestly, Cody Williams is the younger brother of Thunder star Jalen Williams. He only spent 1 year at Colorado, was very limited due to only 24 games due to injury. Very small sample size. He averaged 12 points, 3 boards, 1.6 assists, 0.6 steals, 0.7 blocks, and averaged 28 minutes per game, basically. He shot 41.5% from 3, which was impressive, but again, very limited sample size.
Only 1.7 attempts per game, right?
1.7 attempts, and out of the 194 total shots this guy had in college, 41 of them were from 3. So not exactly huge sample size there. So basically out of 41, he made what? 18? 17, something like that. So not a lot there. Good news is he is further along development wise defensively than he is offensively, and I think that he could help the Utah Jazz. He was a Pac-12 all freshman team. Both NBC and CBS both described him as a non-athletic wing, while stating that that's exactly what the Jazz needed, was an athletic wing. So
a non-athletic wing,
yeah. You even mentioned on the previous episode how he was slow to his spots. He wasn't exactly explosive.
Yeah.
His motor is, much slower than, somebody like, who'd you compare him to? I mean, I think they compared him to a Wiggins on CBS, and I don't know what they did on NBC, but they did say he has tremendous potential, which is always a killer word. I mean, that just brings back PTSD of Dante Exum for me, so I hate that word.
Don't say those.
But they said as far as out of the draft, the Jazz, he felt like he had the most potential. CBS and both NBC both speak to this, saying that he has out of the top 10 drafts, he has the highest potential of any player in that draft. So,
and I think that's exactly the problem with the Dalton Net pick, right? He's probably at his ceiling already as a player. He is a senior. He's been in college for a few years. Like, he's not going to excel his game any further. He's a great player, and I like the Dalton Net pick a lot. Actually, as I was playing softball yesterday and the draft was going through, that's who I really thought they would take, because he was still available.
I could have sworn.
I was like, I think they're going to take Dalton over Cody Williams.
Yeah, I would have been 2 for 2. Damn it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad, because now we're DNA
1-1.
Sports Cap as a whole is 2 for 2.
That's right. We're 1-1 there,
so
for sure. Yeah, I listened to David Locke's Locked On Jazz podcast. He was really high on him. This is exactly both players, which we'll talk about our other player here, Isiah, in a minute. But I do want to say that I am optimistic about Cody. I do. His intangibles, his size, his length, his ability to basically just get into the paint and kind of facilitate without having to overexert his physicality. With the fact that he's so scrawny, he needs to put on some weight.
Right.
I definitely think it's great, man. I think there's a huge upside there. I at the time the draft was like, okay, fine. I think we're just taking the best player available, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know. I think that he's got a shot to really develop in this system into being something that's really special here.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I like the pick. Kind of like I said in our pre-draft video, I think this is going to be some good, healthy competition for Taylor Hendricks, because they are similar size. They play a similar role. Hendricks is a little bit more of a 4, and I think Williams is a little more of a 3.
Yeah.
Even though they're like similar sizes, but I like the length. I like his defensive prowess. I think this is a great pick for the Jazz, especially because they do need this type of role and size. So no, I like it. I like it.
I do too. I think it's also really funny that the 6'5" guard that I picked, Dalton Neck, did go to the Lakers. By the way, congratulations to the Los Angeles Lakers on hiring their head assistant coach, JJ Redick, getting the head assistant coach job there for the Lakers.
Assistant coach, and then they also have got their assistant basketball GM, because clearly LeBron's picking for the Lakers these days as well.
I'm glad you picked up on that. With the draft going on right now, we're probably seeing Bronny getting picked at even now. So
no, he was picked. That's already done.
Oh,
the Lakers picked him at 35.
Dude, that just tells you what this league's like, man. When nobody's willing to mess with him,
and he was not the best player available at 55.
No, he was not. And you know what? Hey, he might develop into something. He may not. But if you're just going to keep LeBron happy and keep him in LA for the rest of his career, I think throwing something at a 55th pick overall is nothing.
It really isn't. I mean, the risk is really low at 55.
Yeah, but all due respect to JJ Redick, I actually did call a previous video that he would be the head coach for the LA Lakers. Absolutely. Just because of the whole podcast, which is kind of a bummer, man. He's abandoning his podcasts.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, imagine Mind the Game, like how cool that would be to have LeBron actually questioning JJ Redick on his podcast why he made certain calls in the middle of the game. That would
Why'd
be
you do that?
must-see TV, man.
What was your call on that?
NBA, get involved and make that happen, because that would be the most watched show on television. I guarantee you.
Yep, for sure.
Guarantee
I'd watch
you.
it.
To have your star players second guess your coach after the game. Heck yeah. I'd love it. I would absolutely love it. But anyway, back to the Jazz here. Let's go ahead and talk about their 29th pick, which is a guard from USC. And this is Isiah Collier. Had an underwhelming, and this is NBC's words, not mine, because I actually have a different opinion on this, at USC, shooting 49% on average from the field, 16 points per game, 33% from three, which again, very limited, 27 out of 80 total. So, there you go. The Jazz have added another undersized guard to their rankings there. Yeah, if we didn't have enough of these guys, now we have another one. So congratulations.
I mean, he's not a bad sized guard. He's 6'4".
6'3".
He's not. Oh, is he 6'3"? So 6'4"
with
in
shoes on,
shoes.
too.
Oh, 6'3" with shoes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking he's a little bit bigger than that. I just want to go on record and say there is a video on YouTube of me saying specifically, this is not the position that I want the Jazz to draft. This is not at all. I don't want them to pick up any undersized guards.
Yeah. So when you were super excited about it, I'm just like, you literally said on
especially guards that can't shoot. And guess what they picked up? Isiah Collier, who is exactly that. This is a ball dominant guard that doesn't shoot the ball great. He isn't a great defensive player for the size that he even is. His jump shot's mediocre, turns the ball over a lot. He's pretty much everything the Jazz don't want. But the kid is a freak downhill scorer.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to look at upsides, and the fact is he's a Jazz man now, I'm going to, I got to get behind him. I got to look at the upside. He does apply a lot of rim pressure, as he can drive the ball and score. And I think that's really important for a Jazz team that is going to, that hopefully is going to be hunting down a shooter, right? We need some more shooting on this team. And when you have somebody like Isiah Collier that can drive the ball, put some pressure on the paint, it's going to help get guys open on the edges. So I'm okay with that. I don't know if Isiah Collier plays a whole lot of.
Yeah,
I think he's probably heading to the G League to kind of do some development. That's probably where he needs to go. Again, he didn't play a whole lot at USC. He was injured, but USC's production fell drastically when Collier was off the floor.
Yeah,
they went on a real bad run.
For his size, I think he's probably one of the better defending guards in the draft. To be 100% honest, with his size there, I think he's going to be a good defensive guard. We see a lot of heart and hustle in this kid in the minutes that he did play in the film that I did watch on him. So I will give him that. I do see something similar to for these guys, like we saw with Bryce Sensabaugh and Taylor Hendricks, when they both spent about half the season down in the G League just to kind of get up to speed.
Yeah,
we may see the early call up, but for the most part, we'll probably see him down there quite a bit.
With number 32, the Jazz they pick Kyle Filipowski.
Mm-hmm.
This kid was originally a lottery pick. Like when this whole thing started, there was no way he was going out before 20. Like he would even be available before 20. He fell all the way down to 32. Jason Tatum tweeted, "A lot of teams going to regret passing on Flip." He did have a standout season at Duke. He averaged 16 points, 8 rebounds in 36 starts. Also had 1.5 blocks, 1.1 steals per game. So ESPN reports were that he didn't have a great pro day.
Mm-hmm.
He struggled to make shots. That his workouts weren't great, and he really was nervous in his interviews and struggled during those. And that's kind of the reason that he fell so far out of the first round. He was in the green room.
Yeah.
He was one of 2 players in the green room that didn't get drafted. He was expected to go first round. This is a fantastic pickup for the Jazz. This guy I'm willing to bet Collier, even though he was drafted earlier, will probably end up in the G League. I would say Filipowski ends up on the roster and could be potentially fighting for some of those minutes. He's a good shooter. He's a great player. That's probably one of the most surprising picks, the fact that he fell that far, and probably the best pickup for the Jazz.
Yeah, I remember talking about this 7-footer.
Yeah.
I remember looking at this guy in early draft picks. I cannot believe he was available.
Yeah, at 32.
That is insane.
Yeah. So I think with all this being said, though, I think it kind of tells you, expect the Jazz to keep pushing hard when we go into free agency here, right? They got young talent is fantastic and drafting guys is great. But the fact is you can't have a team full of 19 and 20-year-olds out there just trying to, figure it out a whole season. So the Jazz are going to keep pushing to probably try to get some shooting around Larry. There was an ESPN notification earlier that said teams are interested in Lauri Markkanen. The Jazz are not interested in moving him.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it. They set their price, man, and then if no one's willing to come to that price, why would they?
They're not going to.
They didn't want to move him in the first place, and the fact that they even said, yeah, well, we have an asking price for him, and it's going to be a Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert-esque type haul. It's amazing, man. 47% from the field, 31% from three. Free throw percentage is 71. That's pretty good for a 7-footer in college.
Yeah.
15 points per game. He does have 2.5 turnovers a game. 8 boards. Not bad. I do think you're right. This is going to be a guy. And dude, we have to talk about that. We have to talk about the whole Walker Kessler thing. Have you been hearing about this?
No.
So I guess the Jazz and Walker Kessler are on the same page of what his role is going to be on this team. He had a great rookie season where he basically followed the Rudy Gobert-esque type role where he's a premium defender, screen and draw and dive to the basket type player. And he sees himself more as a spot up shooter, like shooting threes, corner threes, that kind of thing. He seems to be working on
That's how he sees himself?
That's how he sees himself.
Okay.
So the Jazz and him really aren't on the same page there. There have been trade rumors that the Jazz are looking potentially to trade Walker Kessler. This has been something that's been popping up a lot. So I don't know. Maybe this might be a sign that, they go with the 7-footer in Kyle. I think that could be an indication towards that. I don't know. Definitely kind of speaks to that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think Filipowski was absolutely the best player available at 32, no doubt about it. Especially for a big man. I mean, if that's the case, and Kessler if they are looking to potentially move Kessler, this is a great pickup to potentially fill that role. But at that point, you have to ask your question. Like, you have to ask yourself, what do you plan on doing with John Collins, who kind of started at center most of the season for us?
Yeah,
I don't think Collins stays with the team. I think the Jazz are going to look to move his ridiculous contract for one.
You're not going to get to. Unless you eat a large portion of it, you're not moving them.
And that's what they'll have to do.
So, yeah. I don't know, man. I like the draft. I mean, it definitely didn't seem like, what's his name? Denny Ainge did say earlier in the year that he wasn't looking forward to having a team where he had a majority of the team under the age of 21. Well, guess what? That's what you have now. You have 6 people if you keep all these picks, you have 7 people in the roster under the age of 21.
Yeah.
So that's, that kind of tells you where they're at. So would these things be traded, or are some of these picks going to be traded for that whole quote unquote big game hunting that we talked about before and what he mentioned in a press conference? I don't know, man. I just think he's coming to a little bit of reality there that it's not as easy to trade to get players to come to Utah in this day and age. I just don't think it's that easy.
Fun fact though, Kyle Filipowski and Keontae George played on the USA men's basketball 3-versus-3 team and won gold.
I saw that. That's pretty awesome.
There's some chemistry already, man.
Yeah, I like it. We want to know what you think, folks. Let us know in the comments down below. What do you think how the Jazz did on this draft? If you're going to do an overall rating on the draft, what would you put it at? Let us know in the comments down below. If you're watching live in the chat, please feel free to drop in the comments and let us know how you think the Jazz did on this draft. Drop a grade on there. If I was to give the Jazz a grade on this one, I'd have to say with how their picks fell, and I think they got the 2 players they really wanted. So I have a hard time giving anything less than a B, I think.
I'm going to go B+, maybe even an A, just because they got some really talented raw players that could help them for years to come in the future.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just best player available or what have you there, but we don't know how much these rookies are going to see the court because we already have rookies that need to get playing time. I don't think you really have an answer. Even Danny Ainge says he doesn't really know where Keontae George is going to play. Is he a point guard? Is he a shooting guard? I don't know. We'll see. So there's still a lot to be decided there. We want to hear from you folks. Let us know in the comments down below what you think. Once again, folks, we are on the grind to 1,000 subscribers. Once we hit that, we will be giving the first $500 we earn in AdSense revenue back to our subscribers. So if you have not yet, please subscribe to the main channel, DNA Sports Recap. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that giveaway, and also hit that like button. We did launch Utah Jazz DNA, so if you're watching this on that channel, we'd like to thank you for watching and tuning into that channel. Please hit subscribe. We'll be doing a giveaway on that channel as well. That is our channel specifically for Jazz content. So if you're watching us specifically for the Utah Jazz, you'll find all of our content there as well as the main channel.
Yep, absolutely.